morning and welcome to the Energy Transition Conference 2023, the region's largest meeting place for energy transition, brought to you by Tenaga Nasional Berhad. My name is Frida Liu. As we continue with day 2 of this conference, we're honored to announce and launch the National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR, by the Prime Minister of Malaysia himself. At this point, we'd like to welcome Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi bin Nik Ahmad, Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change in Malaysia, to give his welcome remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy, Malaysia. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Syarani bin Muhammad, Chief Minister of Perak. Yang berhormat Datuk Hajah Hanifah binti Taib, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Economy. Excellencies Ambassadors, yang berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Seri Muhammad Baki bin Muhammad Saleh, Chairman of Petronas, Yang Mulia Tan Sri Tengku Muhammad Taufik, CEO of Petronas, yang berbahagia Datuk Abdul Razak bin Abdul Majid, Chairman of TNB, yang berbahagia Datuk Indra Insinyur Baharin bin Din, CEO of TNB, senior government officials, media partners, esteemed speakers, and distinguished guests. Let me begin by thanking our Honourable Prime Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us on this historic occasion, the launch of Malaysia's National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR. Datuk Seri, you have brought sustainability to the forefront of our nation's consciousness, and hence it is only right that you do the honours today. Let me also take this opportunity to thank the luminaries from the energy sector and other stakeholders for your presence and contributions thus far to this great national undertaking of ours. It is an honour for me as the NRECC Minister to share my thoughts on Malaysia's vision in decarbonising its power sector, which will be among the key enablers for the country to achieve our net zero aspirations. Indeed, given the scale and challenge of climate change, the energy transition is something that all countries will have to go through whether we like it or not. The question is whether we can do so successfully, equitably, and in doing so, transform our economy for the better. Ladies and gentlemen, the energy landscape in Malaysia has evolved rapidly in terms of efficiency, diversity, and sustainability. In fact, the sector has matured considerably from relying on fossil fuels to one which possesses a diverse energy mix, including from renewable sources, which now make up a quarter of our power capacity mix. Under the Paris Agreement, Malaysia has pledged to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions intensity per unit of GDP by 45% by the year 2030. And the best way to meet this is through the creation of a low-carbon energy sector. I believe the second part of the NETR, which will be unveiled later by the Prime Minister, shall provide us with the impetus to realize this. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest World Energy Transition Outlook report by IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, indicated that renewable energy and energy efficiency can, in combination, provide over 90% of the necessary energy-related carbon dioxide emission reductions target under the Paris Agreement. It is important that Malaysia, in its pursuit of economic growth, balance its developmental objectives with environmental sustainability through efficiency in energy supply and demand. Our economic development thus far has been powered by oil and natural gas. However, these resources, which Malaysia is fortunately endowed with, are fast depleting. We must hence devise ways to keep energy resources and consumption in a sustainable equilibrium. Thus, the need to venture into low-emission technology is more pressing than ever. We need to transform our energy landscape and take a giant leap in reducing our dependence on conventional sources of energy. The government in May this year announced and enhanced an ambitious energy target of achieving 70% power installed renewable energy capacity in 2050. Malaysia has hit the ground running this year in ramping up the energy transition. We have, among other things, one, begun the transition to targeted electricity subsidies, as evidenced through the electricity tariff adjustments. We have also relaxed certain rules to allow more domestic users, factories, and offices to fully optimize the utilization of solar power towards achieving their ESG commitments. And three, we will be working on phasing down and ultimately phasing out existing coal power plants. This shall enable Malaysia to have in place a lower carbon energy system as a precursor towards our net zero aspiration. These positive developments will ensure that Malaysia is able to create for our people and our businesses a cleaner and greener grid. A clean grid, in turn, is the key success factor for a sustainable energy future, which is a critical building block for the high income and developed nation status that Malaysia aspires to. Today, Malaysia must ensure we can supply clean and renewable energy to attract to our shores the economic activities of the future, such as data centers as well as high-paying jobs for our people. The 6 power-related catalytic projects announced previously under NETR are among the initiatives that will contribute towards the 70% renewable energy target and hence Malaysia's future economic competitiveness. As the Minister who oversees the electricity supply industry, you have my commitment that I will ensure the fruition of Malaysia's energy transition aspirations through a fair and just implementation process. I strongly believe that a progressive, robust, and well-developed renewable energy sector will move Malaysia forward. We must embrace the energy transition and the wider sustainability agenda as a national mission. I would like to note that for this year's COP28 in Dubai, it will be graced by the presence of our King, His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Also, our delegation will be led by our Prime Minister. This is proof that when it comes to sustainability, Malaysia's leaders lead from the front. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian government has undertaken great strides to enhance our policy and regulatory structure while fostering a comprehensive ecosystem to expedite the energy transition. However, substantial transformations in energy production and consumption are still needed. This will entail much needed investments in grid development, strengthening, and modernization. It is estimated that approximately 180 billion ringgit is required up to 2050 to develop a robust and flexible grid. I was informed that the TNB's current grid system performance is already at par with developed economies, with 0.18 system minutes and a SAIDI of 45.06 minutes. To ensure that we remain a cut above, further upgrades to the grid system in facilitating the intended energy transition is necessary. Hence, I urge TNB to provide the government with a grid development roadmap for higher renewable energy integration as a technical guide in enhancing and fine-tuning the implementation of sustainable energy policies and initiatives. This should take into account the expansion of electric vehicles and data centers, cross-border power integration, and the greater deployment of renewable energy projects, including those announced under the NETR. I would like to note here that the Energy Commission was recently the recipient of the Brand Laureate Best Brands Awards 2022-2023 under the category of Nation's Pride for Energy Sector Regulation Excellence. The award was given in recognition of its exemplary performance and achievements in driving our energy transition thus far. It was also recognized for its role in promoting energy security and sustainable development, as well as in adopting innovative practices towards ensuring a smooth transition to cleaner energy sources. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few short moments, the second part of the NETR will be unveiled. My colleague, the Minister of Economy, YB Rafizi, will speak about its contents. The roadmap will be Malaysia's overarching macro policy document covering our energy transition pathway for the power, transportation, manufacturing, and oil and gas sectors. I again reaffirm the NRECC Ministry's commitment to supporting the implementation of the NETR as well as upholding the principle of a just and equitable energy transition. The NETR is the key we need to ensure that our energy transition, as I alluded to earlier, is successful, equitable, and positively transforms our economy. It is also arguably our bridge to the future, one which Malaysia no longer passively follows trends, but we now set the agenda and we lead, whether in Southeast Asia or, dare I say, globally. With our Hari Kebangsaan a few days away and Malaysia Day in sight, we must realize that the success or failure of our transition and climate action will determine the sort of legacy we leave for our children, the next generation of Malaysians. Every decision we make, every investment we undertake must be a building block for a better, brighter future, as the NB likes to remind us, and as we see in utility bills and posters around. Let me conclude by again thanking our Prime Minister for being here today, and I hope we will welcome you again to our next event, the International Green Tech and Eco Products Exhibition and Conference Malaysia 2023 in October. With that, I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat. And now, speaking on revitalizing the economy, please put your hands together for Yang Berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi bin Ramli, the Minister of Economy, Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang Berhormat Saudara Nik Nazmini Ahmad, Minister of NRECC. Yang berbahagia Datuk Abdul Razak Abdul Majid, Chairman of TNB. Yang berbahagia Datuk Indra Insigno Baharinuddin, President and CEO of TNB. Yang Berhormat Datuk Syarani Muhammad, Menteri Besar of Perak, colleagues from the Cabinet, leadership of the industry, ladies and gentlemen. We used to think that one of the blessings of living in Malaysia is that we are relatively safe from natural disasters compared to other countries. We are located outside of the typhoon belt and the Pacific Ring of Fire, and we are not prone to earthquakes and tornadoes like others. However, the natural disasters in recent years of worsening monsoons, floods, landslides, and forest fires reminded us that no country, not even a geographically blessed country like Malaysia, is protected from devastating effects of climate change. For many decades, developing countries like Malaysia could not be faulted for prioritizing economic growth as a primary motivation. Poverty, income inequality, and low-skilled workforce took most of developing countries' headspace. And this came at the expense of the environment, as carbon emissions and economic growth were not compatible in the past. But something has changed in the past few years. The cost of renewable energy has rapidly declined and will likely to be lower than the cost of fossil fuels very soon. The cost of solar today has dropped by a factor of 5,000 since it was first used in 1958. The cost of lithium-ion batteries, a major cost component in EVs, and grid-scale energy storage has fallen by 90% in the past decade. This was made possible by better technology, economies of scale, and most importantly, because governments that invested heavily at the start because they had the conviction of a better world. So ladies and gentlemen, that is why this administration is pushing the most ambitious pro-growth climate action in our history so far. We could see where the world is going, and we are willing to put forth money, policy, and commitment to meet our biggest challenges of our time. This decade for our country is the decades of action, and the National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR or NETR, depending whichever you like to pronounce it, is the start of remaking of the next generation. Every of the 50 initiatives set forth in NETR, spurred by the 10 flagship projects, are meant to not only bring us closer to our net zero aspirations, but to unlock the economic value that underlies it. The strategy set forth in NETR does not come from an imagined ideal state of the world or what leading countries are doing. Instead, they come from a sobering understanding of the world as it is, a realistic view of Malaysia's strengths, and a pragmatic view of what needs to be done to grow. The first step was to set stretch targets so that the slight discomfort could drive creativity and innovation in reaching them. By 2050, we are stretching first the RE installed capacity target to 70%. Secondly, the energy efficiency savings target to 20%. And thirdly, the EV penetration to 80%. We are introducing the Responsible Transition 2050, which is a low carbon pathway for the energy sector from now till 2050, more ambitious than the low carbon nation aspiration 2040 that was set forth previously a few years ago. The environmental gains are enormous. This pathway will reduce the GHG emissions from 259 gigagrams of carbon dioxide equivalent to 175 gigagrams in 2050. On top of that, it will also unlock the economic value brought by the initiatives and enablers. For the economy, we are expecting a 10 to 15% uplift in GDP value from market-creating products that are high growth and high value. There will also be a 32% reduction in emissions in the energy sector, besides bringing in a higher volume of green FDIs into the country. For the businesses, infrastructure and technology would become the impetus for investments to flow through. Cleaner energy mix and energy efficiency would also future-proof our businesses and industries so that we are prepared for a world where money responds to the greenest products. And for the people, 350,000 jobs are expected to be created in high-growth, high-value sectors across the country. And importantly, 70% of income gains will flow to low and medium income households. The upskilling opportunities that are created could also give Malaysian workers the chance to work on something fulfilling and fully utilize their skills. So ladies and gentlemen, in order to realize these economic gains for the country, there are three critical structures that will become the bedrock of the NETR ambitions. We need strong governance, substantial financing, and a credible and transparent exchange system. These cornerstone structures carry with them critical multipliers that could accelerate growth. So the first one, governance. The establishment of the National Energy Council is the strongest signal yet of the government's intention of moving beyond blueprints and into the nitty-gritty of implementation. The National Energy Council, to be chaired by the Prime Minister, and which the Ministry of Economy is Secretariat, would set forth high-level strategic directions and policies, allowing for the working committees to coordinate and report the progress in turn. And Datuk Seri, we plan to hold the first sitting of National Energy Council as early as October this year, inshallah. Second, on the financing. The National Energy Transition Facility is not just another facility that houses government investments. Instead, the facility will adopt an innovative blended finance instruments that combines the funding from public, private, and philanthropic channels. At the heart of it, the blended finance instrument is meant for the government seed investment to mobilize additional private capital that triple or quadruple the initial seed amount. And thirdly, the energy exchange. What we could say for certain is that we will never be able to fully unlock the true potential of RE without establishing a physical energy exchange in the country. At the basic level, an exchange is necessary for the country to command the price premiums of RE that comes from cross-border trading. As the exchange matures, market-creating products could be created to further unlock the value of different markets that yield healthy returns to the participants. We expect the exchange to facilitate the closer interconnectedness of Southeast Asia, which mutually benefits the region as a single economic bloc. And of course, to make this exchange fair and transparent, a single market aggregator will need to be established so that the exchange is trusted by not only local buyers and sellers, but also internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, although Malaysia only contributes 0.8% of the global greenhouse gas emissions, we are ready and willing to participate in the global efforts to climate action. NETA is the government's most conclusive proof that we are not merely paying lip service to the climate goals, we are here to take action. Most importantly, this government has also framed our climate actions as an opportunity to unlock the economic value that will change the lives of millions of Malaysians in the next few decades. Behind our ambition is a high hope and high degree of practicalness. Behind our idealism for a hopeful future is an economic realism waiting to be actualized. Net zero is not a zero-sum equation. Reducing our carbon emissions must not come at the expense of economic growth. We look forward to seizing upon these unprecedented opportunities and building a better and more resilient Malaysia together for the next generation. And the journey of energy transition in this country has just begun earnestly. And this is an opportunity for us to remake our country and through the inseparable bonds of kinship to remake the world. So thank you very much, Datuk Seri, for gracing our launch today. Thank you everyone for joining us at our momentous launch. With all of your help, we wish the NETA every bit of success. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Ya Berhormat. It is now my pleasure and honor to invite up on stage the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, for his keynote address and the official launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim. Saudara Menteri-Menteri Rafizi dan Nik Nazmi, pengurus dan pimpinan Tenaga Nasional dan Petronas, Timbalan Menteri dan tamu yang saya muliakan. Alhamdulillah kita dapat meluncurkan suatu rencana sangat bermakna bagi negara kita. Dan saya ingin mengambil kesempatan untuk mengucapkan penghargaan setingginya kepada kedua-kedua menteri dan kementerian masing-masing, tenaga, Petronas, penjabat awam dan sektor swasta yang telah mengambil satu tindakan persiapan yang agak serius, agak Malaysia bukan saja tidak ketinggalan tapi agak ke depan dalam mempersiapkan negara dengan hala tuju yang jelas. So, saudara, peluncuran ini bermakna kerana ia menunjukkan satu sikapnya lebih bertanggungjawab di kalangan pimpinan. Kerana ini juga merencana kepentingan masa depan generasi akan datang. Jadi, selain mengucap tahniah, saya ingin menjelaskan bahawa langkah berikut itu lebih bermakna. Dan kita akan buktikan insya-Allah berbeza daripada peluncuran strategi dan wawasan. Peluncuran ini mesti disusuli dengan tindakan yang serius oleh semua agensi, kementerian dan rakan-rakan bertanggungjawab. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as alluded to by both ministers, the world has long been dependent on carbon-based fuels to produce energy. As we continue to power up our economy with fossil fuels, generating vibrant growth and expansion, so did carbon emissions, which grew at an exponential rate, adversely impacting our environment and triggering a global climate crisis. Do we have the solutions and technologies to resolve the issue? Could raising the use of sustainable and clean energy sources in the total energy mix be the definitive answer? For Malaysia, while we have a vibrant oil and gas industry, the country recognizes the importance of renewable energy, RE sources. In the early 1990s, RE was named the fifth fuel under the National Energy Policy. Today, the RE sources are solar, mini hydro, biomass, and biogas. RE supply in Malaysia is now at 25%, and we are on the right track to source 31% of its power capacity from renewables by 2025 and 40% by 2040. The NATR, Rafizi said, netter. You have a choice. This is a democratic country. The NATR details how we will achieve these objectives. Electricity and heat generation by burning fossil fuels, namely coal, oil, or gas, emit a huge amount of greenhouse gases. As a result of this, the energy sector has been identified as the largest greenhouse gases emitter into the atmosphere. This contributes to climate change, which is happening at an even faster pace than before. Under the Paris Agreement, countries should reduce their greenhouse gas emissions accordingly. In the 12th Malaysia Plan, we pledge a net zero GHG emissions as early as 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, since I took office, the government has reviewed the decarbonization plans to see if we could do more. We examined several factors, including policy and regulatory frameworks, to mobilize households and businesses to shift their behavior, viable technological solutions to green operations, and whether there were global carbon mitigation opportunities available to Malaysia to help us to decarbonize. The IEA reports that investment in clean energy is expected to reach $1.7 trillion in 2023. There is also a strong desire for international collaboration that will provide additional avenues to decarbonize. There are vast opportunities that will come with clean energy transitions across the supply chain, from manufacturers of solar panels, electric vehicle EV charging facilities, and battery energy storage to a host of other technologies. All these developments provide impetus for us to restructure our economy while boosting investment opportunities in green growth. The energy transition is one of the initiatives to restructure the Malaysian economy under Ekonomi Madani Memperkasa Rakyat framework. The NETR will provide policy clarity in shaping Malaysia as a leader in energy transition among Asian economies. It is a starting point to mainstream energy transition in the national development narrative, which will bring positive and sustainable results to the energy sector and the economy. The NETR will accelerate and navigate the nation's energy transition measures on a larger scale, thus ensuring success in shifting from a traditional fossil fuel-based economy to a high-value, green and sustainable economy. The primary goal is to change the way energy is generated in Malaysia by accelerating the energy transition. This can resolve the climate change crisis. With the implementation of initiatives under the NETR, Malaysia is set to be at the forefront of becoming a regional leader in energy transition and RE industry. The NETR identified 6 energy transition levers, along with 10 flagship projects and 50 initiatives. The champions of the projects and initiatives are among public sector, GLCs and industry players, signifying a whole of Malaysia approach. Energy efficiency, as one of the energy transition levers, offers effective long-term solutions to manage our energy consumption, thus reducing carbon emissions. The government will launch a major retrofit program to enhance energy efficiency in government buildings. In this regard, an ESCO energy service companies platform will be established to connect private ESCOs, which are mainly SMEs, with government projects. The central role of the platform would be to serve as an intermediary that pools government building retrofitting projects and encourages public-private coordination in ESCO market. In May this year, the government set out an ambitious target to achieve 70% renewable energy installed capacity by 2050 and lifted the ban on cross-border trade and renewable energy. A renewable energy exchange will be established. Originally, it's supposed to be end of the year, but Rafizi insisted it should be earlier. Good luck to him. And I'm with him on this. Just whispered to Ning Nazmi that we should facilitate, accelerate the process, because we cannot be left behind, and therefore to fasten the pace is to me a reasonable proposition. So that will act as a market aggregator that will enable price discovery and monetize excess power. As the paramount challenge in energy transition is financing, it is estimated that an investment of at least 1.5 trillion ringgit between 2023 and 2050 is needed to enable responsible energy transition. Within this decade alone, the government requires between 60 billion and 90 billion ringgit to be allocated for crucial projects, among others, expansion of public transportation, strengthening grid infrastructure, and reskilling of human capital. Considering Malaysia's current state of mature decarbonization technologies, our progress will significantly hinge on alternative energy sources and robust regional and international collaboration. In this regard, the government will allocate 2 billion ringgit as seed fund for the National Energy Transition Facility. As Minister of Finance, I'm very familiar with this. They will only applaud when you announce the billions, not otherwise. Now, this facility will enable catalytic blended finance to ensure a seamless flow of financial resources towards energy transition projects that are marginally bankable or yielding below market returns. For example, investment in EV value chain, hydrogen, and CCUS technologies. Now, the National Energy Council will be activated to ensure holistic energy planning and policy development while monitoring progress of the NETR. I will personally see to it that the Council functions as mandated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, detractors to the contrary notwithstanding, energy transition is not an option. The government welcomes the private sector to be an equal partner by participating and investing in this transition. The Energy Transition Initiative brings about a trilemma that requires us to balance sustainability, security, and affordability in the energy sector. Whilst Malaysia's move to embrace sustainability has been gaining momentum, emphasis is also given to ensuring we can provide affordable energy as well as energy security. We are optimistic, inshallah, that the NETR will succeed in the balancing act. NETR will drive the creation of high-paying job opportunities and boost domestic and foreign investment participation while ensuring the continuity of Malaysia's green energy supply. Ultimately, this will make Malaysia a regional leader in the clean energy industry. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as collective efforts can drive positive change for a cleaner and more sustainable future, we need to focus on the importance of international collaborations in expediting the energy transition initiative. By working together, we can leverage our collective strength to accelerate the deployment of renewable technologies, the development of innovative energy storage solutions, and the enhancement of energy efficiency practices. Malaysia's strategic position as the ASEAN Energy Hub enables us to play a pivotal role in advancing the region's sustainable energy future towards net zero ASEAN. Notably, utility companies such as TNB and Sarawak Energy are progressing in the cross-border business, levering the ASEAN power grid. This will improve broader energy security prospects and further enhance economic integration with neighboring countries. TNB is leading discussions with ASEAN utilities and governments for resource sharing and flexibility solutions at scale. The move will accelerate the energy transition pace in a responsible manner while balancing the elements of the energy trilemma. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, once again, I would like to congratulate TNB for hosting this inaugural Energy Transition Conference 2023. As I have alluded to earlier, I am proud to say, after monitoring the progress of government bodies and agencies, I would salute the professionalism, integrity, dedication of bodies like TNB and Petronas. This conference will be instrumental in accelerating a responsible energy transition in both local and regional collaboration to strengthen inter-regional grid connections, in particular for the ASEAN region, towards greater energy security. With the commitment to accelerate a responsible energy transition for Malaysia, let us unite under Malaysia Madani banner to progress forward. Let's foster a future where green principles and the aspirations of net zero GHG emissions drive our endeavors. As a guiding philosophy of nationhood, the Madani framework will take us on a continuous journey to achieve a just, equitable, and humane society in pursuing the nation's development holistically and putting the needs of the people first. In the spirit of Merdeka, which we will celebrate the next 2 days with the theme Malaysia Madani Tekad Perpaduan Penuh Harapan. We will continue to build a better and more vibrant Malaysia for the benefit of the rakyat and for the next generation. Rakan-rakan Menteri, Menteri Besar Perak, dan rakan-rakan, saya ucapkan sekali lagi ribuan terima kasih dan penghargaan kepada semua yang bersama. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister. We'd like to invite you to remain on stage. And at this point, I'd also like to invite Yang Berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi and Yang Berhormat Tuan Nick Nazmi for the launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap. And what I'll do at my countdown, on my countdown, we'll press the ball and signify the launch.
Resilience. As the world rapidly evolves, energy assumes a pivotal role in shaping the future. Our goal is balancing the energy trilemma. The National Energy Transition Roadmap paves the way for a future powered by renewable energy that spurs economic growth. Envisioning an energy transition that is fair and accessible to all, while contributing to a higher quality of life for all Malaysians. The accelerated pace of energy transition will be delivered through 10 flagship catalyst projects and 50 initiatives aimed at achieving net zero. By capitalizing on these 5 key enablers, we will be able to meet our goals for Malaysia to restructure its economy and maximize its green growth. The National Energy Transition Roadmap ensures future energy security while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The National Energy Transition Roadmap will drive initiatives that bring a positive impact on our economy, industry and communities. Join us in accelerating a responsible energy transition for a better and and brighter tomorrow.
Congratulations again on the launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap. I would like to invite the Prime Minister and both the ministers to the centre of the stage. Ministers to signify the launch of the NETR. All right. And the NETR report can be downloaded today at the Ministry of Economy's website, economy.gov.my, and that's EKONOMI. Thank you to the ushers as well. We also have another significant announcement, and we're very honored that the Prime Minister and the ministers are here to witness exchange of documents between Petronas and TNB. And this is an MOU to explore carbon capture and storage technology for gas-fired power plants. Of course, we have the Chairman and CEO of Tenaga Nasional up on stage, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Abdul Razak, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Indra Insinyur Bahrain. And from Petronas, we have Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Muhammad Bakir Saleh, the Chairman, and Yang Mulia Tan Sri Tengku Muhammad Taufik, the President Group CEO. We'll now invite the CEOs to exchange the documents to be witnessed by the Prime Minister, the ministers, and the Chairman. Congratulations once again on this MOU between Petronas and Tenaga Nasional. I would like everyone to pose for a group photo.